A federal charge, but he is not, we're told, by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago in federal custody tonight. But people here at Dalton Village Hall say they haven't seen him either since word of that indictment dropped just a few hours ago.
Two controversial South suburban politicians been fired as federal investigators focus in on his boss.
WGN Investigates has confirmed Tiffany Henyard, senior advisor in Thornton.
Controversy is rapidly growing in the south suburbs as federal investigators intensify their scrutiny of Thornton Township leadership, resulting in the ousting of Tiffany Henyard's senior advisor. Keith Freeman, once a close and trusted ally, now finds himself embroiled in legal troubles, accused of concealing assets and income in his bankruptcy case. Authorities across Dalton and surrounding areas are expanding their investigations as Freeman, who once stood firmly beside Henyard, has reportedly turned against her, providing crucial information to the FBI. Henyard, initially celebrated for her bold leadership and sweeping administrative changes, now faces mounting allegations of unethical behavior from former employees, fueling concerns about corruption and misconduct within her administration. As legal battles escalate and more former insiders come forward with accusations, public trust in Henyard is rapidly deteriorating, casting a long shadow over the popularity and support she once commanded.
He's been in and out of trouble since he was a young person. He was charged for theft in 2000. He was charged with a felony and when he turned 27. This was back in 2005. Theft in the second degree. Oh, Keith is a busybody. He has a long rap sheet. He never cleared up his charges because back in 2011, he was in Palm Beach, Florida, where they extradited him back to Ireland. They said out-of-state fugitive. Fugitive from justice. That's your boy, Keith Freeman. Because we all know Tiffany Henyard made a big fuss about not giving background checks. And this is one of the reasons why she did want to give a background check. Because anybody that works for the municipal department or the city can have felonies.
At a recent village board meeting in Dalton, Keith Freeman was seen sitting next to EMB Battle as Mayor Tiffany Henyard discussed financial matters. Freeman, who also serves as the Thornton Township Municipal Manager, is now facing serious legal trouble. The U.S. Attorney has accused him of concealing assets and underreporting his income in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case filed on January 3, 2024, in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Chicago. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. Despite his claims, reports indicate that Freeman's actual income was significantly higher than what he disclosed. Attempts to reach Freeman and other Dalton officials for comment have gone unanswered.
So expensive apartment. You're collecting money from the village of Dalton, and you're also collecting money from Thornton Township. So you're making about $150,000 a year. I'm pretty sure it's more. He's saying that he only worked for Thornton Township. Your income. Thornton Township, municipality manager. Gross income, $5,800. Now, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but from the payroll expenses of Village of Dalton payroll, Keith is on here. This was just in October. Keith Freeman, $3,800 every 2 weeks. And he claims that he only makes $5,800 from Thornton Township. Employer's name, Thornton Township. Reason why he's trying to get away with it is because Keith is a 1099. He's not paying no taxes off his income. No Social Security taxes, no medical tax.
Keith Freeman is facing serious allegations from the municipality of Robbins, where he served as village administrator from 2017 to 2021. The village claims Freeman failed to provide required documents and improperly collected approximately $9,396 more than he was entitled to during his tenure. Adding to his legal troubles, Freeman is also accused of misrepresenting his financial situation by creating a fraudulent 2022 income tax return, which he allegedly submitted to the Chapter 7 trustee. Reports indicate he provided documents reflecting a significantly lower income than he actually earned, despite never filing a tax return for that year.
Person can lie on their own financials. What do you think they're doing for the village? Nobody is untouchable. That's what I want to say. Nobody is untouchable. So if this is just the first domino to...
Keith Freeman plays a significant role in the investigation into Tiffany Henyard due to his multiple positions under her influence. Beyond his roles in Dalton and Thornton Township, Freeman was also, for a time, the registered agent of the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, an organization that, according to state records, does not exist in Illinois. The charity, which claims to assist cancer patients, has been under scrutiny for receiving most of its initial funding from taxpayers while failing to file required paperwork detailing how the funds were spent, raising concerns about its legitimacy. When questioned about these discrepancies, Freeman offered evasive responses, providing little more than dismissive remarks. Adding to his mounting legal troubles, Freeman is also facing serious charges, with an indictment detailing an incident on January 30th, 2024. Keith Freeman is now facing a federal charge of bankruptcy fraud after allegedly misrepresenting his income and concealing financial assets. During a creditors' conference, Freeman testified under oath, falsely stating that he was not employed by Dalton and had not received payments from the village. Prosecutors argue that these false statements were part of a scheme to hide his true financial situation, alleging that he used a pass-through company to disguise his Dalton earnings, inflating his reported income from $99,000 to $195,000. The indictment also includes a claim from Robbins, where Freeman previously served as village administrator, accusing him of taking over $90,000 without authorization. If convicted, Freeman faces up to 5 years in federal prison. Federal authorities, including the acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, the FBI, and IRS special agents, have underscored the seriousness of the charges. Meanwhile, Dalton officials are eager to sever ties with Freeman as they attempt to distance themselves from the growing controversy.
A lot of controversy on whether or not he was an employee or if he was contracted. Now they're saying that he didn't list this information.
And if he can't handle his own business, how in the world can he handle?
Mounting controversy continues to surround Dalton, Illinois. Mayor Tiffany Henyard as federal fraud allegations against her longtime ally, Dalton Administrator Keith Freeman, come to light. Once a trusted figure in local politics, Freeman now finds himself at the center of a growing scandal that has divided the community. A leader of a local organization publicly condemned Freeman's actions, calling them an embarrassment to the town and demanding accountability. "We've been waiting for some justice to be served," the leader said, vowing to call for Freeman's resignation at the next board meeting if he appears. Freeman, who has pleaded not guilty to federal bankruptcy fraud charges, was released on a $5,000 unsecured bond with sealed restrictions. However, his legal troubles extend beyond the fraud case. He is also named in a separate lawsuit against both the village of Dalton and the embattled mayor, adding further strain to an already tense situation. Keith Freeman, once a trusted public figure in Dalton, now finds himself at the center of a legal and political firestorm following his indictment for bankruptcy fraud. His sudden fall from grace has drawn unexpected public scrutiny, with even his own attorney expressing surprise at the level of media attention. "I think many practitioners in this building would be surprised to see this level of attention and press paid to a bankruptcy indictment," the lawyer remarked, suggesting that questions about government pressure on Freeman to cooperate should be directed at prosecutors. Freeman's legal troubles extend beyond bankruptcy fraud, with allegations that have far-reaching consequences for both him and Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration. In addition to the federal case, he is facing a lawsuit from Dalton property owner Tyron, who claims Freeman played a role in blocking his business license for a barbershop. Tyron alleges that after an initial meeting where Freeman assured him all necessary permits would be approved, Freeman later dismissed him and appeared not to recognize him, leading Tyron to believe his project was deliberately obstructed. A Dalton building inspector has reportedly supported Tyron's claims, further deepening the controversy surrounding Freeman and the Henyard administration. The growing controversy remains uncertain. Allegations that Mayor Tiffany Henyard sought to control Dalton's properties for personal gain have only intensified scrutiny of her administration. According to a building inspector, Henyard actively sought to block others from acquiring land, further fueling concerns over her leadership. These claims, combined with the legal troubles surrounding Keith Freeman, have left the community frustrated and questioning the legitimacy of Henyard's actions. Tyron, the property owner whose business aspirations were allegedly obstructed, has accused Henyard of personal interference, stating that her administration deliberately blocked his barbershop project. As investigations continue, Henyard has remained defiant, dismissing the allegations as politically motivated and claiming she is being targeted by those who wish to see her fail. However, with Freeman's bankruptcy fraud indictment, Tyron's lawsuit, and mounting dissatisfaction among residents, Henyard's hold on power appears increasingly fragile. The legal and political turmoil has escalated to a point where not only Freeman's future in Dalton is at risk, but Henyard's leadership and reputation as well. Public outrage, coupled with ongoing lawsuits and federal investigations, has cast a long shadow over both figures, leaving the community wondering whether justice will be served and if Henyard will ultimately be held accountable for the alleged mismanagement of the town. The legal troubles surrounding both Keith Freeman and Mayor Tiffany Henyard continue to cast a shadow over Dalton's leadership, with the fallout from the allegations far from over. As the first Black female mayor of Dalton, Henyard now faces heightened scrutiny due to her close ties with Freeman, a senior advisor and administrator whose mounting legal issues, including federal investigations and accusations of misconduct, have intensified public and political pressure. The controversy surrounding Henyard's administration reached a boiling point during a tense board meeting where she clashed with trustees who accused her of mismanaging township finances. Heated debates erupted over spending decisions, particularly the lack of a new budget and questionable expenses, including thousands of dollars spent on Amazon purchases, bakery cakes for a community event, and tens of thousands of dollars for a one-day Thornton Township event. These expenditures raised concerns among trustees, who subsequently voted to halt funding for upcoming events like House Fest and Gospel Fest. Henyard, visibly agitated, accused the trustees of acting out of hatred and emotion rather than reason. She defended her leadership, claiming she had cleaned up the township's finances and insisted that the township had a financial surplus thanks to Freeman's management. However, skepticism remains high, and tensions between Henyard and the board continue to escalate as questions over financial accountability and governance loom over her administration. Only fueled public skepticism and distrust toward her administration. As federal fraud allegations against Freeman continue to unfold, Henyard's leadership is facing an unprecedented crisis, with growing doubts over her financial management and governance. The controversy surrounding Freeman, once a key figure in Dalton's political landscape, has exacerbated tensions between Henyard and the village trustees, many of whom have openly questioned her decision-making and spending practices. Public frustration with Henyard's leadership is mounting, as her association with Freeman and the legal battles surrounding her administration weigh heavily on her reputation. While she continues to defend herself against accusations, the intensifying scrutiny from both political figures and Dalton residents suggests that her grip on power is weakening. The allegations of financial mismanagement, interference in local property deals, and unchecked spending have created a volatile political climate that could define the future of Dalton's government. The coming months will be crucial in determining whether Henyard can weather the storm of legal troubles and public backlash, or if these controversies will ultimately unravel her leadership. With investigations ongoing and lawsuits piling up, Dalton residents are left questioning whether their town's leadership can restore trust in local governance, or if deeper issues of corruption and mismanagement will continue to surface. As tensions rise, Henyard's ability to navigate this political firestorm remains uncertain, with both her legacy and future hanging in the balance. Accountability in her administration. Freeman's termination from Thornton Township, due to allegations of absenteeism and misconduct, has only deepened the crisis surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard. His dismissal on July 9th, following his failure to submit the necessary paperwork for family medical leave, further fractured Henyard's already embattled administration. The HR department at Thornton Township made it clear in its termination letter that Freeman's role was too significant to overlook the severity of his actions. For many trustees who had already questioned Freeman's influence in village government, his firing served as proof of Henyard's poor judgment. Residents, too, have begun to express growing concerns about the mayor's ability to lead, as her association with Freeman continues to cast doubt on her administration. With Freeman's legal troubles mounting and federal investigations intensifying, the political fallout for Henyard appears increasingly unavoidable. While Henyard's defenders argue that she is the target of political adversaries seeking to undermine her leadership, critics point to the growing scandals as evidence of mismanagement. Allegations of questionable financial decisions, misuse of public funds for personal promotion, and a lack of transparency have fueled distrust in her administration. As pressure continues to build, Henyard faces an uphill battle to maintain control of a town that is growing increasingly skeptical of her leadership. For an independent audit of the mayor's spending, arguing that taxpayer money should not be used for personal luxuries. The trip to Las Vegas, combined with other allegations of financial mismanagement, has only deepened the skepticism surrounding Henyard's leadership. Critics argue that her administration lacks transparency and accountability, particularly in the allocation of public funds. The ongoing investigations, paired with the lawsuit against both Henyard and Freeman, have cast a dark shadow over her political future. With Freeman facing federal charges for bankruptcy fraud and other legal scrutiny, speculation has grown that prosecutors may pressure him to cooperate with their investigation into Henyard's administration. If Freeman chooses to provide damaging information about the mayor, it could further escalate the legal and political crisis surrounding her leadership. As accusations of corruption and financial irresponsibility continue to mount, Henyard finds herself at a critical crossroads. While she has dismissed the allegations as politically motivated, the backlash from both residents and political opponents suggests that her hold on power is becoming increasingly fragile. With investigations still unfolding and public trust eroding, the future of Henyard's administration and the stability of Dalton's local government remains uncertain, as it highlighted the depth of frustration among Dalton residents and officials. Henyard's response to the mounting allegations has been largely defensive. Rather than directly addressing concerns about her spending, she has attacked her critics, labeling those who question her integrity as liars while failing to provide clear explanations for her actions. Her refusal to engage with opposition trustees and dismissing concerns about the township's finances have only deepened public discontent. Tensions between Henyard and the village board have escalated, with trustees demanding more transparency regarding vendors and expenditures before approving financial decisions. Critics argue that her administration's lack of transparency is preventing the board and the public from holding her accountable. The growing pressure, fueled by allegations of financial mismanagement, abuse of power, and a failure to provide oversight, is making it increasingly difficult for Henyard to maintain control over Dalton. The legal troubles surrounding Keith Freeman have only worsened the situation for Henyard, as his federal indictment makes it harder for her to distance herself from controversy. The political crisis came to a boiling point during a special village board meeting, where residents voiced concerns over not just financial misconduct but also accusations of sexual harassment, retaliation, and discrimination within the administration. The intensity of these allegations has left Dalton in political turmoil, with Henyard's leadership facing its greatest challenge yet. As legal battles continue and investigations unfold, the future of her administration remains highly uncertain. Investigations, lawsuits, and mounting public backlash. The revelation of a $3.65 million deficit in the general fund, coupled with unexplained credit card transactions and millions in outstanding vendor payments, has further eroded confidence in Henyard's leadership. The financial report, prepared by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, painted a troubling picture of fiscal mismanagement, raising serious questions about how public funds have been allocated under Henyard's administration. Adding to the crisis, the Illinois Department of Human Rights is now investigating Henyard and an unnamed village trustee following a complaint filed by her former assistant, who alleges she was sexually assaulted during the mayor's controversial Las Vegas trip. Henyard's notable absence from a recent board meeting only intensified frustrations among residents, as the growing number of investigations and allegations against her administration continue to pile up. The tension between Henyard and the village trustees has reached a breaking point, exacerbated by Freeman's firing and legal troubles. Many in Dalton are now openly questioning whether Henyard is fit to lead, as her administration faces mounting scrutiny from state and federal authorities. With public trust at an all-time low and legal challenges threatening to dismantle her political career, Henyard's hold on power appears increasingly fragile. As investigations continue, the fate of her administration and the financial stability of Dalton hangs in the balance. Henyard's administration is facing an unprecedented crisis as scrutiny, lawsuits, and mounting public criticism continue to escalate. The revelations from the financial report have only deepened residents' disillusionment, prompting calls for accountability over the mismanagement of village funds. Despite the growing pressure, Henyard has largely deflected criticism, dismissing allegations while failing to provide clear answers. However, with multiple investigations underway and her financial practices exposed, her grip on power is becoming increasingly tenuous. As the political turmoil in Dalton unfolds, both residents and trustees are left questioning whether Henyard is capable of leading the town effectively. The combination of legal troubles, financial mismanagement, and widespread dissatisfaction has created a perfect storm that threatens to topple her administration. Whether Henyard can navigate this crisis and maintain her position remains uncertain, but the coming months will be critical in determining her fate. As investigations progress and political tensions rise, Dalton residents anxiously await the outcome, wondering if Henyard can restore trust in her leadership or if her time as mayor is coming to an end.